We have a $60 billion drug problem in America. 50% of that comes through Arizona's border with Mexico. The cartels have used Arizona for decades as an easy route to move contraband into the United States, thereby becoming the preferred drug corridor, especially Vehicle Valley on I-8 east of Gila Bend. The drugs flow north while the cash flows south using human packers. In addition, human and weapons trafficking are already tied to this trade, under control by the cartels. Who's in charge of stopping the traffic? The federal government. But they're doing a poor job getting Homeland Security to coordinate the efforts of Customs, Border Patrol, the FBI, DEA, AFT, and other departments to get them working together better. Turnover and botched technology implementations have been the norm. Coordination with state and local police has previously been horrible, but has just started to improve in this past year. There are multiple stages at which you can stop the drug traffic. 1, you can wait until it hits metropolitan areas and bust drug dealers and users in the act. Or 2, intercept the traffic as it's on its way from Mexico. The first is much more dangerous. You're dealing with drug users, large numbers, low quantities of drugs, in areas that see murders and rapes often. These are the types of actions that put the lives of our law enforcement at high risk. The second is much easier and safer and leads to higher quantities confiscated per bust. The packers traveling between Mexico and the United States are simply the delivery guys. They're carrying a lot of drugs and are paid money for each delivery that they make. They are alone or in small groups and tend not to harm any law enforcement they encounter for fear that they would draw unwanted national attention to their cartel in Mexico. When they encounter a Border Patrol agent, they typically drop their packs, run into the desert, and escape. This method is safer, it's effective, it yields high volumes per bust, and when cartels get wind that their trade routes are being intercepted, they have to look for alternative ways to get the drugs to the United States. Let's talk about this wall idea that everyone wants to build to keep everyone out. No one can get past a wall, right? Especially a double wall. Do you know how much that would cost? The cost of building an effective double fence along the 375 miles of the Arizona border would be more than $3 billion. It's not going to happen. Now let's get back to the simple idea of a wall itself. If I put a duffel bag full of cash on the other side of a wall, could you get it? Of course you could. What if the wall was taller? What if you went deeper in the ground so you couldn't dig under it? What if there were 2 walls? How about if it was 6 inches thick? Look how effective a wall was to these drug traffickers. See the game we're playing here? No matter what physical barrier we put up, there will always be a way to get around. The point is this: it's pure insanity to try to continue playing this wall game. We will never win, and we will continue to spend billions of dollars losing the game. Now, some people are calling for Border Patrol agents permanently stationed all across the border. Would it work? Possibly. Would it be cost effective? Well, at $150 million a year, the answer is no. So what's the solution? Technology. This past year, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office strategically placed 65 sensors along a few drug traffic areas. I was able to see the results firsthand. On July 22nd, while I was there with their personnel, 47 of the sensors were triggered, which led to a drug bust of 170 pounds of Mexican weed. It was worth $130,000. Just $250,000 of sensors has increased drug interdiction by tenfold in 1 year. This is the direction we need to go. In 2014, I authored a bill to build what we're calling Arizona's virtual fence along the Arizona border with Mexico, in order to verify that the feds were keeping their word to secure our border. Ronald Reagan told Gorbachev he would trust but verify. That should be our message to the feds. The Arizona Virtual Fence consists of 300 mobile sensor towers, which each contain military-grade but commercially available and proven equipment. Radar, cameras, communications, solar, and battery power all combine into one effective solution. The towers are able to detect, locate, and visually identify drug traffickers and transmit that data to agents who can quickly intercept these traffickers. By employing technology, Border Patrol can focus on capturing and detaining rather than using time-sensitive, old-school tactics and physical patrolling. A continuous line of these towers across the border will create a mile-thick line in the sand, which cartels will not cross without detection. This solution will allow us to detect and interdict all drug traffic using only existing county sheriff and DPS personnel. No extra people need be hired. Companies in Tucson, Mesa, and Orem, Utah have stepped forward with state-of-the-art technologies to make this happen in 1 year. The capital cost of the virtual fence is only $30 million, the cost of 1 mile of freeway, and has been decreasing as Fortune 100 companies have offered to purchase, deploy, maintain, and lease these assets to the state for less than $10 million per year. CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, county sheriff, and state agencies have expressed interest in using and paying for access to these assets for sensor detection and filling radio analog holes on the border today. My guess is that we will enter the 2015 legislative session with a solution to implement the virtual fence with less than a $5 million per year cost to Arizona taxpayers. Remember how much the other solutions would cost? Almost 100-fold. Technology is more cost-effective than physical barriers with manned patrols. Every expert in the world in perimeter fence security would agree that the virtual fence is the most cost-effective and most successful interdiction tool today. It's 10 times more effective and 1/100th of the cost. Now some may ask, didn't the federal government try something like this already? Wasn't it a complete failure? Yes, but it wasn't a failure of technology. It was a failure to implement the technology and execute properly. Is that any surprise after healthcare.gov? I've spoken to people involved and they say that the Obama-Napolitano effort was a complete organizational disaster and cost a grand total of $1.6 billion without ever delivering a solution. What are we doing different? First of all, we're keeping the federal government out of it. We're using proven technology that has already been implemented successfully around the world in the past 5 years. We're establishing one system and one set of standards across the entire project. We're not trying out something that hasn't been done before. We're taking a proven solution and putting it where we need it, and doing it quickly and at minimal cost. Envision our state without the drug traffic, without the resultant crime and corruption that comes with it. Envision the money saved by law enforcement that can be effectively used in other areas that we so desperately need, like education. There will be no loss of jobs, only increased effectiveness of existing law enforcement personnel. Arizona will no longer be known for its drug and human smuggling safe houses in Phoenix that spread drugs and contraband for the entire country. It's time we stop the rhetoric and take control. It's time we put to a stop the stupid solutions and implement smart, efficient, and cost-effective solutions. The virtual fence I brought before the state is the right solution to protect ourselves. Experts, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Governor Brewer, and state lawmakers agree. That's why we will take the new law passed by the Arizona Senate and House and signed by Governor Brewer in June and implement this solution in 2015.